Hello everyone, I am the Enforcer, and welcome to the breaking news. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and support us on Patreon, link in the description below. Today we'll be able to hear of major news around the world, including that of Europe, as a major NATO air operation is underway while the Russian Federation is conducting a drone incursion inside of Germany. We have been able to hear that 11 Stratotankers and multiple other aircraft are airborne with their transponders on, and there is also the possible potential for around 44 NATO fighter aircraft to be airborne during this time as well, along with the in-air tankers. This is one of the largest and the most significant aerial operations that we have seen so far by the NATO alliance during this time in this era, and it is something to show that tensions are certainly rising within the area. This all happening while a drone incursion has been reported in Schleswig-Holstein within the Federal Republic of Germany, and the German government is currently gathered and is discussing the matter of the drones and what to do if and when these drones are found within northern Germany. Meanwhile, in South Korea, near to the Maritime Demarcation Line, a South Korean corvette of the Republic of Korea's Navy has fired on a vessel, a merchant ship, from the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea that attempted to cross the line. This is one of the first times that shots have been fired in the Maritime Demarcation Line for months on end, and one of the first times that shots have been fired either at the DMZ or the Maritime Demarcation Line over several months, as a matter of fact. We are believing that tensions may rise as a result of this action today, and it does appear that the tensions are continuing to remain at a fairly steady high between the two nations. Meanwhile, it has been alleged that the People's Republic of China is gaining and acquiring support from the Russian Federation to help further refine their airborne forces' tactics and doctrines, and also help to flesh out Chinese drone capabilities and drone warfare to a further degree from the Russian Federation. We have also heard that the Axis powers of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Russian Federation, the People's Republic of China, and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan have all created and signed a joint statement today denouncing any actions by the United States of America to build or operate an airbase in and around Afghanistan. The Islamic Republic of Iran is continuing to work on uranium enrichment and are continuing to construct the Pickaxe Mountain refinery facility just to the south of the Natanz enrichment plant, which was destroyed during Operation Midnight Hammer by the United States Armed Forces. Meanwhile, inside of Europe, we have also been able to hear that a Russian fuel train, or more so a Belarusian fuel train, exploded on its way into Russia today in Smolensk, and the Belarusian authorities have announced that they now have Oreshnik IRBMs inside of the country. The state of Ukraine has also requested the possibility of the United States to supply them with Tomahawk cruise missiles, while at the same time it appears that the Russians may be preparing for a false flag in the midst of growing fuel crisis inside the Russian Federation, as people continue to queue by the dozens and hundreds for any gas that may be left available inside the country. We've also been able to hear that the U.S. Special Forces ship, the MV Ocean Trader, has been spotted inside the Virgin Islands, as U.S. forces largely appear to be on standby at this point to see what is going to be happening around the world, and largely most if not all actions that we have publicly heard against the nation of Venezuela have ceased over the past several days. We have a massive amount of news, and we're going to be making sure to cover each and every single detail of this as much as we can throughout this video. Moving on into our most major and important news of the day, we have been able to hear of a massive NATO air operation that is currently underway at this moment. We have been able to report that at least 3 KC-135 Stratotankers of the U.S. Air Force are currently operational within Poland and the southern areas of the Baltic Sea near to the area of Gotland Island. They've also been joined by a British A330 Voyager, which is also conducting in-air fueling operations around the area of Lithuania. At the same time, within southwestern Europe, 2 Italian 767 aerial tankers are airborne right now around the area of the Tyrrhenian Sea and also the area of the Balearic Sea within that region, and a NATO in-air tanker, an A330 Voyager, took off from Spain and is currently conducting orbits around the area of the Strait of Gibraltar. Meanwhile, a French Air Force A330 Voyager is now conducting orbits around the area of Bordeaux. On top of that, we've also been able to see another additional 2 KC-135R Stratotankers currently conducting orbits around the area off of the coast of Britain near to Newcastle upon Tyne, while at the same time another NATO A330 tanker is conducting a racetrack path of orbits around the area of northwestern Germany. This is a major air deployment of tankers, one of the largest that we've seen in a singular event at any given point in the conflict with the Russian Federation and the war in Ukraine. This is suggesting that nearly 44 combat aircraft could be airborne at this moment, as any aerial tanker can generally support the operations of four combat aircraft with the tanks that they have on board and their refueling capabilities. On top of that, around the area of Kaliningrad, we have also been able to see that further NATO air operations are ongoing, including that of an RC-135 Rivet joint, which is still conducting orbits around the area of Kaliningrad, along with a U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft of the U.S. Navy. On top of that, a CL-600 Artemis II reconnaissance aircraft and targeting aircraft of the U.S. Army is also airborne at the moment, along with an AEW&C Gulfstream E-550 of the Italian Air Force, bringing the total number of aircraft airborne that are a part of the NATO alliance in Europe right now up to approximately 57. This is a major development, and one of the few times that we have ever seen this many aircraft and this many assets airborne within the region. I do want to once again state that the idea of 44 combat aircraft being in the air is a rough approximation of the maximum capacity that these in-air fueling tankers would have at the moment, with about 11 of them being airborne, each one of them able to support 4 aircraft, meaning that 44 combat aircraft could be in the skies right now. This is all coming at the same time that the Federal Republic of Germany is dealing with an ongoing drone incursion within the area of Schleswig-Holstein, which is within the northern region of the Federal Republic of Germany, directly bordering Denmark. This is a situation that has been heard of before but kept quiet, and it does appear that this one has not been able to be kept quiet, as German citizens have been reporting the sightings, and at the moment in Berlin, the German government is currently trying to discuss the matter, with the German Interior Ministry in intensive and ongoing discussions with the federal government and the Bundeswehr about the drone situation. The military and police are also working on the case, but they have not informed us about the number or location of the drones, at least according to Conflict Radar on Twitter. This is an ongoing development and situation within the area, and is the first official drone incursion that we've been able to hear of after several days of drone incursions have shut down Danish airspace almost entirely and have been believed to be conducted by the Russian Federation. This is also wildly close to the sighting of the Repucha-class landing ship that was anchored in international waters near to the islands of Fyn and Lolland in Denmark, and is once again leading a lot of beliefs in credence to be directed at the idea that that Repucha-class landing ship may be the vessel responsible for the drone launches and incursions that are currently being conducted throughout the entirety of Central and Northern Europe at this moment, and the ones we've been hearing about for the past several days. While the Federal Republic of Germany and Denmark are trying to find the drones and shoot them down to stop any further violations of their sovereignty, the Republic of Korea has actually found and fired at a vessel from North Korea that was attempting to violate their sovereignty earlier today. Warning shots were fired from a Republic of Korea naval vessel today near to the Maritime Demarcation Line as a North Korean merchant vessel attempted to violate the maritime border within this area. We understand that the corvette that was involved is incredibly similar to the class that we are seeing here in this picture, and apparently the shots were fired near or across the bow of the North Korean merchant vessel, forcing it, at least from what we understand in the moment, to turn around and flee the area of the Maritime Demarcation Line. This is one of the first times that we have heard of shots being fired around the area of the Maritime Demarcation Line or the demilitarized zone for months, with the last incident involving a North Korean platoon of nearly 30 soldiers that temporarily crossed the demarcation, the demilitarized zone, which is on land, with the South Koreans firing several shots at them, forcing them to turn around and flee back across the border. We are expecting that tensions will start to increase as a result of this action today, as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea very rarely ever leaves this sort of a development unanswered. While this is going on in the Korean Peninsula, the People's Republic of China is apparently getting support, at least allegedly, by the Russian Federation, according to the Washington Post, to help them train an airborne battalion and supply equipment that could be used in attacks on Taiwan. The publication reports, citing leaked documents and the authenticity of which was confirmed by the British think tank RUSI. It is not out of the question that the People's Republic of China may be trying to gather intelligence and information from the Russian Federation about their lessons learned at the failed Battle of Hostomel, and also their drone activities and drone warfare operations that have been conducted throughout the entirety of the war in Ukraine. This could further assist in the People's Republic of China's abilities to prepare and get ready for a war with Taiwan, which could be several years from now at the minimum. While that was going on, the Russians, Chinese, Iranians, and Pakistanis all banded together to issue a joint statement following their meeting, rejecting the re-establishment of U.S. military bases in and around Afghanistan by the very countries they hold responsible for the current crisis. This is once again nothing new, and we are generally expecting that they are trying to stop the expansion of a U.S. sphere of influence or power projection abilities within the area, as Bagram Air Force Base is strategically positioned to be able to conduct U.S. aerial power projection either against the underbelly of the Russian Federation along the southern end of their border or within western China, where there largely is no U.S. presence at the moment, at least aerially, and also against Pakistan and Iran. So it does appear that all of these powers are attempting to consolidate their efforts and try and denounce any U.S. efforts to re-enter Afghanistan and operate the Bagram Air Force Base. While that's going on, the Islamic Republic of Iran is still trying to develop their nuclear research and development capabilities after the strikes were conducted in Operation Midnight Hammer in the 12-day war by the Israelis and the United States, which largely debilitated their nuclear program and generally slowed down their progress. We have been able to see that spoil piles have started to appear around the area of the Pickaxe Mountain nuclear complex, which is just south of the Natanz uranium enrichment complex, which was successfully hit during Operation Midnight Hammer. From what we understand, they are starting to conduct significant operations at Pickaxe Mountain to try and further enhance their abilities to produce a greater deal of weapons-grade uranium and to help accelerate their nuclear research and development programs to get a fieldable nuclear weapon as quickly as possible. It is highly expected at this point that the United States of America and the State of Israel will be conducting further military operations against the Islamic Republic of Iran, as there is clear and evident proof by a multitude of their actions and from what we can gather by satellite and picture evidence that the Islamic Republic of Iran is rapidly working towards starting their nuclear programs again at full speed and getting towards developing and fielding a nuclear weapon, which at this moment can directly threaten the United States of America, as the Khorramshahr-5, Iran's first intercontinental ballistic missile, which was just announced several days ago, does have the range to be capable of targeting and hitting the eastern seaboard of the United States, meaning that if the Islamic Republic of Iran does get and possess a nuclear warhead, they can directly target and kill, potentially, hundreds of thousands if not millions of Americans, not making this a situation of nuclear proliferation and the principle of whether or not Iran should have a nuclear weapon, but a matter of national security, as hundreds of thousands if not millions of American lives could be at stake if the Islamic Republic of Iran successfully creates a nuclear weapon. While the Islamic Republic of Iran is speaking of nuclear weaponry and the United States and Israel are having to consider further military actions against them as a result, it appears that the Russians and the Belarusians came together today to try and recreate the nuclear explosion scene from the movie Oppenheimer along the Belarusian-Russian border. Inside the area of Smolensk, a Belarusian fuel train traveling eastbound into the Russian Federation ran into a semi-truck that apparently was stuck on the level crossing and ended up impacting it, causing a significant derailment and an explosion that then ensued, creating a massive fire that has now shut down the main line between Belarus and Russia and appears to be out of control. Here's some of the clips. We actually have 3 of them, but here's one of them showing the fire as it's unfolding right now.
Поезд. Фура. Под локомотив, и этот локомотив взорвался. Хлопок такой был.
We also have another clip of this fire right here, this one a little bit closer, and giving us a better idea of the sound of the burning fuel coming from the tanks.
Полный пиздец. То вот эта часть горится, разгорается еще больше. Отцеплять и наружный остаток начинает гореть. От хвоста всего лишь вот осталось.
Some Russians online have been saying that it looks like the pits of hell have been opened, which I had to retort, it doesn't really appear the case. The entire country of Russia and Belarus already looks like the pits of hell, so it really can't look like the pits of hell are opening in the pits of hell, you're already there. We also got to see the fire from another angle, much closer, while we were seeing that Russian fire trucks were pulling up to generally do just about nothing, because this fire is so out of control, there really isn't a lot anyone could do about it. You just generally have to wait for the thing to burn off. This is actually going to be causing some significant issues in between Russia and Belarus, as this is closing down the main line that travels between the two countries around the area of Smolensk, and is going to be further constricting their supply corridors between the two countries. This is also coming as Belarus's foreign ministry has stated that they now have Oreshniks inside of the country, officially. That was according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Belarus. From what we understand, the Belarusians may or may not be operating the Oreshnik Hypersonic Intermediate Range Ballistic Missiles themselves, but we can assure that they are inside the country. That is without a doubt. And we are most likely going to be expecting that this will once again be another provocative action against NATO, as they are going to be stating that there are Oreshniks in the country quite often, and also threatening the entirety of Europe with an Oreshnik strike. This is coming while the Ukrainians are continuing to fight their war against the Russian Federation and are looking for ways to try and end it sooner. With Zelensky asking the President of the United States for Tomahawk cruise missiles, according to Telegraph reports. Zelensky reportedly told the president that advanced weapon systems like the Tomahawk could help pressure Russian President Vladimir Putin into negotiations for a peace deal. We are not sure whether the President of the United States is seriously considering that proposal or not, but it is one that was made by Zelensky nonetheless. We also heard that the Russian Federation may be trying to distance Ukraine from the West by preparing another false flag, already starting to move forward a story that Ukraine is preparing a false flag attack on Romania and Poland using repaired Russian drones to provoke a war between Russia and NATO, according to the Russian Foreign Ministry. The idea behind this sort of a story is that if the Russians get this story out first and people start to believe it, they are going to say that when the Russian drones hit and attack Poland and Romania, which were direct Russian attacks, that it wasn't the Russians that did it, it was the Ukrainians. And if this was believed, this would start to distance the West from Ukraine and generally leave Ukraine alone to fight the Russian Federation without any foreign support. This is incredibly see-through, as the Russian Federation has attempted to build these sorts of constructed stories multiple times throughout the war, and really to no success either time. But once again, very sickening to see what links the Russian Federation will go to try and conduct psychological operations and manipulate the West into abandoning the state of Ukraine. In the meantime, they are not doing that great inside of Russia anyways, and I guess that once you're out of fuel and you just have to sit around your house all day without a job because the Russian economy is collapsing, your imagination runs wild with these fanciful and stupid notions of creating false flags like these. As we can see, the fuel lines are now developing inside of Crimea at practically all the remaining gas stations left that span for well over at least a quarter or a half mile. This is giving us the idea that a lot of Russians are probably going to be out of the job soon, because if you really can't get to work or back, how in the world are you supposed to get to your job and clock in? In short, their managers are about to be texting them, "Are you coming into work tomorrow?" And the answer is going to be no. Moving on down into the Eastern Caribbean for a little bit of a touch-up, at least in this area, considering we haven't talked about it much, we were able to confirm that the MV Ocean Trader, a specialized roll-on roll-off cargo ship used for the U.S. Special Forces and the U.S. Military Sea Command, has been spotted moored around the area of the port of St. Croix within the Virgin Island. We are believing at the moment that U.S. operations within the Eastern Caribbean have largely ceased or been put on hold, at least for now. We are not seeing or really hearing of any actions either conducted by Venezuela or the United States over the past 3 days, and we actually believe that because of the rising tensions within Europe and East Asia, the United States may have put the ongoing escalations with Venezuela on hold to figure out what the future may bring, and if the United States needs to get itself involved in the Venezuelan situation right now, or whether we need to start completely dedicating our attention and efforts towards Europe and East Asia. A fairly significant and important question to ask at this point, considering that we're getting incredibly close to a conflict with the Russian Federation, and it may as well already be going on right now. Like many officials in Europe and Russia have said, we are pretty much effectively at war at this point. It's just that we aren't shooting all out at each other yet here in the West and inside of Russia. But we are going to be waiting to see what is going on over the next coming days and weeks with these developments inside of Europe, inside of the Koreas, and also inside of the Middle East as well, as all of them are incredibly large and once again continuing to grow, at least in importance. If you have enjoyed this video today, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've really enjoyed this video today, please make sure to support us on Patreon if you can. The link is in the description below. For about the cost of a cup of coffee, or the cup of a cost of coffee, either way you want to think about it, about $5 a month, you can actually help us to keep this channel running and keep the news coming out each and every single day. And the short war videos and the live streams. This channel runs pretty much entirely on viewer support, and we are massively grateful and appreciative of the folks supporting us on Patreon and the folks who super chat our live streams every night, because they help us to be able to do this as our full-time job and pay our bills doing this, so that way we can focus on news coverage every single day of the week, 24/7. So I've got to thank you all so much once again, both for supporting us on Patreon and also for everyone supporting us by spending some of your time here on this channel and watching this news today, and I hope that you all have enjoyed this video and found it to be of high quality like usual. Of course, we will see you all in the next one, either tonight on our stream at 10 p.m. Eastern Time or in the next short war video. And of course, we will see you all then, and we'll see you all in the next one.